Hi everyone, Jackie Dresser here with the Lake Erie Regional Grape Program. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to talk a little bit about the key to our crop estimation method that we use here at the program. And some of you may know a little bit about our crop estimate method, but I'll break it down for you just in case this is your first time hearing about it. So what we do to predict our yield is we go through and we take a destructive sample of a certain area of the vineyard. So what we do to make our math easy is we clean pick samples that correspond to 1/100th of an acre. And for our row spacing on this farm here in this block, that's about 48 feet of trellis area. So we'll actually come through with our harvester, which we already have primed up for fruit thinning, and we'll come through and we'll destructively harvest with the grape harvester mid-season. We'll collect the weight of the fruit at each sample location, and we can use that to predict yield. So the question then becomes, how do you take that mid-season sample and convert it to a final yield? Because really, these berries here on this cluster, your clusters per vine will probably not change very much during the season. You know, if you set 3 clusters on a shoot, you're gonna have 3 when you pick, you know, unless you have some damage from disease or insect pests or something like that. Your berries on each cluster, again, fairly constant, given good management practices. But what is going to change is the berries inside of this cluster, they're going to grow. And what we need to do is know what they're going to be at harvest time. So our mid-season destructive sample, we collect a berry weight mid-season, but we need to know what the berries are going to be when we pick them so that we can take that mid-season yield sample and convert it into a prediction. So we need to have some multiplication factor. And we've been collecting what we call our berry curve data for about 20 years now. And the berry curve, what we do is from berry set onward, we go through and we take samples of about 100 berries or so, because as you can see, they do vary on the cluster a little bit, the size that they are, so you want to be confident of your mean. So we'll go through and we'll take a berry sample and we'll see what the berry weight is about once a week every season, and we've been doing that for about 20 years. So we're pretty confident that our average berry curve is predicting the dynamics of Concord berries throughout a growing season. Based on that data, the rule of thumb that we use and what we tell our growers as part of the Lake Erie Regional Grape Program is that at 30 days after bloom, the Concord grapes are about 50% of what their final berry weight will be at harvest, which is a really easy number. If you go out and you collect your destructive samples at 30 days after bloom, you can just multiply that weight by 2 to get what that area would be at harvest. And then you can take that, if it's 100th of an acre, convert it to tons per acre, and then you have your tons per acre at harvest. And if you know how many acres you're farming, then you have your yield estimate, and it's all pretty simple. The other advantage to doing your crop estimate mid-season is that you can have a lot of time to adjust that crop downward. The last thing you want to do is find out that you're hanging 13 tons an acre when it's too late to do something about it. So harvesting your yield samples at 30 days after bloom allows you to have some time to implement some management decisions there. So the real key to the method that we use, and we're able to get below 5% in our yield prediction error pretty much consistently every season. There are some anomalies, especially once you get past the 100-day after bloom harvest time. So if you're harvesting later in the season, we do notice that it gets a little bit tougher to model berry weight dynamics. If you get a lot of rain, your berries might blow up, especially if it's the night before you're picking them, or berries can even dehydrate as the harvest window moves along. So what we're able to do with our berry curve, even if you don't want to go out at 30 days after bloom and collect your yield estimation samples, you can wait if you know you're not going to thin that year, and you can harvest them a little bit later in the season, and you can use our berry curve to come up with the multiplication factor that you need to get to your final yield estimate. So this has been really great for us in Concord. We know it works. We've tested it for nearly a decade now, our crop estimation protocol, and we're integrating spatial data as part of the Efficient Vineyard Project to even make that method a little bit more robust. But what we don't have, and in a belt where, believe it or not, it's not only Concord here, we do have quite a bit of other cultivars that people are growing here. So this season, we've put a lot of effort into starting to develop a berry curve for other cultivars, both here on our research farm and in some cooperating vineyards. So if you're wondering, hey, I really like your crop estimate method, but I grow Riesling or I grow Chardonnay. Stay tuned, and we will have berry curve data for that moving forward. And just like with any sampling protocol, the more years we do it, the more growing season we do it, the more confident we're going to be in our berry curve. So for now, we have a pretty robust one for Concord, and we're working on fanning that out and really working to develop a berry curve for some other cultivars as well. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for your attention. And as usual, if you have any questions, please post them in the comments section below, and feel free to check out our website, lergp.com or efficientvineyard.com.